Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a power building training vlog, and today was shoulder day. So we started the day off with a seated press. I did all of these to failure. You guys will really notice the last set, it's definitely failure because I got there and just paused at the bottom and tried to lift it and couldn't. But all of these were pretty much limit sets. So on the seated press, I do take a fairly close grip, mainly because it's more comfortable for my shoulders. And this is really just mostly a front delt exercise for me. Again, I try to get as low as I can, stretch down, pause at the bottom, and then drive it up. So again, I do prefer these seated these days. I feel like it just really isolates things like my upper chest and front delts and everything a little better. And for me, this is almost a complementary lift for my incline bench. And I skipped incline this week and did reverse bench, but I'll probably go back to incline this coming week. I feel like the incline brings a lot for me in terms of just bringing up those areas I need to bring up as I'm getting leaner. Plus it helps my bench press tremendously. So again, we start the day off with this, and then everything else is side and rear delt. And there's a lot of debate with shoulder training to where people are like, well, do you really need any front delt stuff? And we could argue that you may not. But if we're trying to really maximize development and aesthetics, I do think some of this stuff, because particularly for the front delts, the upper chest tie-ins, absolutely has value, absolutely has merit, but it should be a lower overall amount of your shoulder training. In other words, side delts and things really do need to be prioritized a little bit, right? They are a higher priority. And because you really won't get the wide shoulders that most people are going to want doing just overhead work. So afterwards, I went to an upright row. On the upright rows, I'm going over to a wider and wider grip. I've been doing a closed grip for a while, but I'm like, let's get wider, mainly because, again, side delts. I really need to double down on the side delt work. I do plenty of pressing for my front delts. I really need to make sure I get those side delts wider. I need wider shoulders, particularly as I lose the next, say, 5 or 6 pounds of body fat. What I do with those delts is going to start to matter a great deal. And I'm really going to need them to pop as I get leaner. So doubling down on this stuff, side delt work, making sure that stuff gets worked, does need to be a little bit of a priority. So much so that I would say, if you really look at my training, a lot of it is biased towards things like side delts, biased towards biceps, things like that at the moment, because those are areas that I need to bring up. Having had a powerlifting background, those are aesthetic weak links for me, so they're going to be prioritized a little bit. And so again, just for balanced training. So again, 3 sets of these. So really my delts get more direct work than anything else, by the way. Most of you will notice if you watch my vlogs, this is pretty much a delt day. 12 total sets for delts. Granted, it's 3 heads with different functions, but most of my other muscles don't get that unless we count triceps, right? And if we count all the benching as triceps. But then again, my delts get worked on all the pushing and pulling. All right, there you guys, you saw right there me hitting failure. Hopefully next week, though, I'm going to make some adjustments with the diet. Some of the extra water will come off. For those curious why, even though I've gotten leaner, sometimes the waistline looks a little squishier. It's all the carbs and fiber I've been eating with the current diet. And I've had people comment on that, and they don't understand when I say that of what I'm talking about. I've definitely had people who are like, I don't understand. You won't necessarily get leaner. You won't lose fat by replacing whatever. It's like, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about looking tighter, not actually losing fat more quickly. And that's something people don't realize when we get into those discussions of carbohydrates like that versus healthy fats. No, you're not going to necessarily lose body fat any quicker. It's purely about reduction in water weight, reduction in the amount of water your intestines and GI tract hold, and just what that does to your overall waistline and stuff. So anytime I make that sort of adjustment, like my waistline gets 2 to 3 inches smaller within a week. So that's what we're talking about. Lateral raises. When heavier, everything you guys will notice today, everything is about that 6 to 8 rep range. Going heavier in general, and I think particularly as my diet gets adjusted, I may not want as many reps. I'm going to just focus more on mechanical tension. We can hit higher reps on key exercises, right? Things that will benefit from it a lot. Things like maybe, leg extensions, reverse hypers, calves. But for the most part, a lot of my upper body stuff isn't going to go much beyond about 12 reps. Okay. Most of it's going to be in about the 5 to 12 rep range for a little bit. And again, just push mechanical tension, with good form. All right, same thing on these. I did these last time with 10s. I'm like, I need to go ahead and get heavy on these. And I could only squeeze out 8 reps. And because, again, I'm using 28-pound dumbbells instead of 10-pound plates. But it's also really, really, really hard to cheat because I'm stuck on the incline bench, right? And so, again, really lights that area up. So 3 sets of rear delt raises that way. So what do we have? 3 sets of overhead press and 3 sets upright row with a wider grip, 3 sets of laterals, 3 sets of rear delt raises, okay? All of this hit the side delt. 6 of the sets were very side delt dominant though, and then this is focusing on the rear, but 9 of these sets technically hit the rear delts too, okay? So again, prioritizing those areas. And of course they'll get hit tomorrow on the back and bicep day also. The rear delts definitely will. So again, there's a lot of overlap with this sort of split. Even that's what I point out, with a lot of this stuff, my volumes are low per muscle group on those days. But when you start looking at overlap, how much do my delts really get worked? I mean, if I do 6 heavy sets of presses on the chest day, 6 sets of pulls, between pull-ups and rows for the rear delts on those days, that's already shoulder work. Then we come in and do all this direct work. All right, the same thing with the arms. Yeah, I mean, I do 6 direct sets for triceps and biceps every week, but I have all the pushing, all the pulling, the chin-ups, upright rows, overhead pressing, right? It adds up. And then I finished up with a couple sets of neck extensions just to finish it out. I did those yesterday on the deadlift day. My God, my neck is like 70% better already, and I've been struggling with it for a couple weeks, just in terms of having slept on it wrong, neck pain. It started alleviating it. So what I'm going to have to do is what I said yesterday. I'm going to have to just religiously do these neck extensions and just keep them up because they work wonders for my neck. As someone who sometimes sleeps on it wrong, especially gotten worse as I've gotten older, and I get horrible cricks in my neck, this seems to alleviate it. In addition to having benefits like improving your deadlift lockout, can even bring up your upper traps a little bit. Neck extensions, guys, right? Neck extensions. Fighters love them, but of course I'm not a fighter. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.